The sound of ripping plastic cuts through the terminal air. Every conversation, every boarding call, every click of rolling luggage stops. A woman in uniform, mid-40s, sharp blonde bob, name tag Holt, Kate, holds two halves of an identification card in her hand like a trophy. Across the counter stands a tall black man in a navy jacket, calm, dignified, unmoved. He looks at her, not with anger, but with a kind of tired disbelief. "Ma'am," he says softly, "you just destroyed federal property." Someone gasps behind him. Another whispers, "Did she really just tear his ID?" The man doesn't flinch. He reaches into his inner pocket, pulls out a black badge holder, and flips it open. Marcus Ellery. Federal Inspector, TSA Internal Investigations. And in that frozen second, Karen Holt realizes she's not in control anymore. She's under inspection. 3 months before that day, the TSA had been quietly compiling reports, travelers claiming they were being stopped, questioned, or humiliated without clear cause. Same terminals, same agents, same patterns. Skin color, accent, even hairstyle seemed to decide who got randomly checked. To verify the truth, the TSA's Office of Internal Investigations sent in one of their own. Marcus Ellery had spent 27 years in federal service, first in the Air Force, then aviation security. He believed in rules, but he also believed in respect. He'd seen policies save lives, and arrogance ruin them. This assignment wasn't his first undercover review, but something about this one felt heavier. Maybe it was the number of complaints. Maybe it was how easily people's dignity could be shredded, like paper. That morning, he'd blended in like any other traveler, boarding pass, ID, carry-on bag. He didn't expect a confrontation. He was there to observe. But observation turned into something else when he met Karen Holt. Ever feel someone's already made up their mind about you before you even said a word? You can see it in their eyes. That quiet judgment that says, "You don't belong here." If you've ever felt that way, pause this video for a moment and drop a comment below. Because this story isn't just about an airport. It's about how small moments reveal who we really are. Dallas-Fort Worth International was buzzing that morning. A mix of business travelers and spring break families filled Terminal E. Announcements echoed, "Final call for Flight 702 to Chicago." A child cried somewhere near the coffee line. Marcus sipped his black coffee and scanned the crowd. Every time someone was waved through security or told to step aside, he made a mental note. Tone. Body language. The subtle hierarchy of respect. He'd been watching Gate E22 for 15 minutes before approaching. He noticed Karen Holt right away, precise, efficient, brisk. But also, selective. A young Latino man had just been asked to open his backpack while others breezed through. A woman wearing a hijab was told to step back for extra screening. And when an older white gentleman fumbled with his phone, Karen smiled and said, "Take your time, sir." Marcus exhaled quietly and stepped forward. "Good morning," he said, placing his boarding pass and ID on the counter. Karen didn't look up right away. Destination? Seattle. She picked up his ID, squinted. Her brows tightened. "This doesn't look right." Marcus tilted his head slightly. "You can scan the number in the system." She didn't move. "Where are you traveling from?" "Dallas," he said, patiently. Her lips thinned. "No, I mean, originally." He blinked once, slow. Then smiled. "Baltimore." Karen frowned, flipping the card again. "You said this was government issued?" "Yes." She chuckled quietly. "Sure it is." Marcus didn't rise to it. "Would you like to verify that?" She ignored him. "Step aside, please." He did. Calm. Professional. But the tone in her voice, the one that said, "I know what I'm doing, and you don't belong here," was exactly why he'd been sent. Karen had checked 2 more passengers, both white, both cleared without question. Then she looked back at Marcus. "Still waiting." "Sir, I'm not seeing this credential in the system." Are you sure this is your ID? Yes. She sighed dramatically, attracting attention. You're not making this easy, are you? I'm just standing here, ma'am. That's when she snapped. She muttered something about fake documentation, grabbed the card, and tore it in half. Phones came up instantly. A dozen witnesses. The sound of the tear seemed to echo through the terminal. Karen crossed her arms, confident. You'll need to wait for airport security, she said. This could be a felony. Marcus looked down at the two torn halves on the counter. He inhaled once. Exhaled once. Then, quietly. Ma'am, you just destroyed federal property. Karen scoffed. I highly doubt that. That's when he reached into his inner pocket. Opened the badge holder. The gold TSA seal caught the light. He didn't raise his voice. Didn't smirk. Didn't gloat. He just said, Inspector Marcus Ellery. TSA Internal Investigations Division. The silence that followed was absolute. Karen's mouth opened slightly. You're, what? He gestured calmly toward the counter. I'll need your supervisor's name. And the names of everyone on this shift. The murmurs began. Is this real? Did she just? Oh my God, she tore up a TSA inspector's ID. Security was called. Cameras recorded. The crowd whispered. And Marcus stayed exactly where he was. Still. Composed. A picture of quiet authority. In a small glass office 2 floors above, Sandra Kim, Regional TSA Compliance Chief, replayed the passenger video for the 3rd time. The frame was shaky, but clear enough. Marcus's calm face. Karen's hand ripping the ID. The crowd's gasp. It had already hit social media, nearly 100,000 views in 2 hours. The caption read, Gate agent tears up a black man's ID. Turns out he works for the TSA. By noon, cable news had it. By evening, Congress did. Karen Holt was suspended pending investigation. The airline released a neutral statement. We are aware of an incident involving a gate agent and a passenger. We are cooperating with authorities. But people weren't buying it. In the comments section, travelers began sharing their own stories. How they'd been spoken to differently, treated as suspicious, humiliated quietly in public spaces. It wasn't new. It was just finally visible. Meanwhile, Marcus sat alone in the Dallas airport's administrative office. A young agent named Luis Ortega brought him coffee. You handled that, better than most would, Luis said. Marcus smiled faintly. Anger doesn't fix systems. Observation does. Luis hesitated. Still. I've seen this before. Different faces, same tone. Marcus nodded. Then write it down. Every detail. That's how you make it count. The following day, Karen was called into a closed-door meeting. Sandra Kim sat across from her, calm but direct. Ms. Holt, do you understand the severity of what happened? Karen's voice was tight. He was acting suspicious. His ID looked fake. I followed procedure. Sandra leaned forward. Procedure doesn't include destroying identification, does it? Karen blinked rapidly. I made a judgment call. Sandra paused. That's exactly the problem. Outside that office, the media frenzy was building. Marcus's photo, taken from an old TSA conference, was circulating online. Hashtags, hashtag justice in uniform, hashtag DFW incident, hashtag respect at the gate. One commentator wrote. He didn't yell. He didn't threaten. He just showed the truth. And the truth was louder than anger. 2 weeks later, Marcus was back in Washington. The report on the incident was 37 pages long, complete with video transcripts, timeline, and policy recommendations. But when he stood before a new class of TSA officers, he didn't read from the report. He just told a story. A woman once tore my ID in half because she thought she was protecting the system. What she didn't know is that I was there to protect her from becoming part of the problem. The room was silent. Respect isn't optional. It's not in your checklist, it's in your tone, your eyes, your timing. People remember how you make them feel longer than they remember what you ask them. A young recruit raised her hand. What happened to her? Marcus took a breath. She's no longer with the company. But I don't hate her. She just forgot who she was serving. He looked around the room. This job isn't about power. It's about trust. And trust starts with restraint. Voiceover, narrator. If that hits home, share this story. Because every profession has rules. But only character gives them meaning. 3 months later, Marcus flew through Dallas again. He didn't announce his visit. He just wanted to see if anything had changed. At gate E22, a different agent stood behind the counter. A young black woman named Jada Freeman. She was smiling, patient, explaining a delay to an elderly traveler without irritation. Behind her, a new sign hung on the wall. Respect is security. Below it, all gate personnel are subject to compliance monitoring. Marcus stood quietly at a distance, watching. Jada noticed him. "Sir, can I help you?" He smiled. "No, thank you. Just passing through." She nodded. "Safe travels, sir." He turned to leave. And as he did, a janitor pushing a mop bucket looked up and grinned. "You're that guy, right? The one from the video." Marcus chuckled softly. "Guess I am." "Things been different around here since then," the janitor said. "Folks think twice now." "That's something." Marcus paused. "That's everything." As he walked toward his gate, he glanced once more at the counter, the same place where things had gone wrong months earlier. Now, a mother with 2 small kids was being helped, not harassed. The staff smiled. The air felt lighter. Marcus's phone buzzed. A message from Luis Ortega. Training update implemented nationwide. "You did it, sir." He smiled faintly, sliding the phone back into his pocket. He didn't do it for fame, or headlines, or applause. He did it so that the next traveler wouldn't have to explain their existence before their destination. Outside, as the plane taxied into the sunlight, Marcus looked out the window and thought. Sometimes justice doesn't come from shouting. Sometimes it comes from standing still and letting the truth speak. If this story moved you, share it, talk about it, and subscribe for more stories that remind us that color is not a crime.